What's up guys, just Justin here. Welcome to the Korn album ranking. So this is out of all three of these rankings that I'm going to be doing today. Slipknot is already done, Metallica is on the way, but right here, right now, this is the Korn album ranking. Out of all three of these, this has been the one that has changed the most. So let's jump right into it, guys. So my opinion on the worst Korn album has not changed. It is without a doubt The Path of Totality. This is where Korn tried to cross over into dubstep and it just did not work out at all. There's only about 3 good songs on this album, and they are Narcissistic Cannibal, Get Up, and Way Too Far. Chaos Lives in Everything and Bleeding Out are okay. But other than that, this album is absolutely horrible, and I would not recommend it to a new Korn fan. But if you're a dubstep fan and you want to get into metal, maybe this is a good place for you to start, but otherwise, stay away. And at number 11 is the second self-titled Korn album, otherwise known as just Untitled, from 2007. This album is okay. I don't hate this album. I listen to it once every, I don't know, like, I listen to it probably a few times a year, honestly. I almost never listen to this album. And there's some okay songs on this album, such as Starting Over, Bitch We Got a Problem. Evolution and Hold On are pretty good. Do What They Say is okay. Ever Be is alright. Killing is another good song. There's 3 songs on this album that I would go out of my way to listen to, but other than that, I mean, it's pretty boring, pretty generic for a Korn album. They went for kind of an industrial sound on this album. I just wasn't really feeling it. At number 10, we have Korn 3, Remember Who You Are. This album, I do not dislike this album, just to get it out of the way. I think that this album is okay. There's a few good songs on this album. It's just that, this is their 3rd album with Ross Robinson, and he really put them through a lot of shit, especially Jonathan. Ross Robinson's a crazy man, but anyways, they tried to go back to their roots with this album, and I mean, it worked out okay, but this album is nowhere near as good as their first 4 albums, especially their first 2 albums. That's what it tried to harken back to, the Life Is Peachy and self-titled days, and it didn't do a great job. But there are some good songs on this album, such as Oildale, Pop a Pill, Fear's a Place to Live, Let the Guilt Go, Never Around, and Holding All These Lies is okay too. Just that, for an album that tried to go back to their roots, it didn't really work out so well. At number 9, we have See You on the Other Side. Now, this album did drop down a few spots from the last ranking. It was at number 7 in the last ranking, but I still think that this is one of Korn's more underrated efforts. Yes, it was when they ventured into the mainstream a bit more and they became more industrial. But there are some great songs on this album, such as Twisted Transistor, Politics, Hypocrites, Souvenirs okay, Coming Undone, Liar is a great song, Seen It All, Tearjerker, and also some of the bonus tracks are really great as well, such as It's Me Again and Eaten Up Inside. So this album is probably where a lot of Korn fans started to get turned off. And maybe if I was, growing up in the 90s and this came out in 2005, maybe I wouldn't have liked it, but I still think that this is one of their more underrated albums. And at number 8, we have Life Is Peachy. Now, this is where a lot of Korn fans might feel the need to dislike this video. This is another album that I actually like. It's just that I don't feel that this album is as good as the albums that are above it on this list. It's all my opinion, so just don't get triggered. But there are some great songs on this album, such as Twist, Chi is really good, Lost is good, Swallow, Good God, we got Adidas and Kill You, all good songs. But songs such as Wicked, Lowrider, Ass Itch, yeah, I don't really like those songs. See, this is a good album, it's just not as good as their other stuff in my opinion. And at number 7, we have Take a Look in the Mirror. This album is actually really good. I really like this album. The band would consider this to be their worst album, but I don't agree with that at all. You know, tensions were rising in the band at this point, and Head left the band to take care of, you know, his drug addiction, and the album after this, See You on the Other Side, would be David's last album with the band as well. So a bad album for the band, but I really like this album. Right Now, Breaks Him Off, Counting on Me, Here It Comes Again, Deep Inside, Did My Time, Alive, When Will This End, I Want a Single, I'm Done. Just so many great tracks on this album. I really think that this is one of Korn's heaviest albums to date, and it's just really underrated in my opinion. And at number 6, we got The Paradigm Shift, which I think is another one of Korn's more underrated efforts. This is probably their most underrated album in my opinion. This has so many great songs on it, such as Pray For Me, Love and Meth, What We Do, Spike in My Veins, Mass Hysteria, Never Never, Punishment Time is really good too, Victimized, and It's All Wrong. Great songs on this album, and this album also features the return of Head, and he definitely brought heaviness back to Korn in full force. Now this album is what changed the most from my original ranking. This was number 11 in my original video, and I did take a lot of shit for that, ranking this album number 11. A lot of people were like, yo Josh, that's one of my favorite albums, man, what the fuck? And I did not connect with this album at all at first. I thought it was really overproduced, really repetitive, and it is pretty overproduced, but there are still some great quality tracks on this album, such as Here to Stay, Blame, Hollow Life, Bottled Up Inside, Thoughtless, Hating, Alone I Break, Embrace, and No One's There. No One's There is probably my favorite song on this album. Really good album, and it's now become one of my favorite Korn albums of all time. And at number 4, we have, as of now, Korn's most recent album, released in 2016, The Serenity of Suffering. This album is really good, one of their heaviest albums to date. Thanks to Head, he brought heaviness back to Korn, like I said, with Paradigm Shift. So many great songs on this album, such as Insane, Rotting in Vain, Black is the Soul, A Different World featuring Corey Taylor, which is a fucking awesome song, Everything Falls Apart, Die Yet Another Night, Next in Line, Take Me's pretty good too. Just a really good album, and I cannot wait to see what this year brings for Korn and the new Korn album. I hope it's really heavy, and I hope it builds on this album. And at number 3, we have Issues. This album is absolutely amazing, but the only reason it is my number 3 is because I feel that this album has a bit too many interludes. We got For You, It's Gonna Go Away, Am I Going Crazy, Wish You Could Be Me. So that's 4 interludes, and 5 if you count the intro. And on, I think it's 50 something minutes. Yeah, on a 50 something minute album with 16 tracks, 4 or 5 interludes is just a bit too much. But there are a lot of amazing songs on this album and staples of Korn's discography, such as Falling Away From Me, Trash, Beg For Me, Make Me Bad, Somebody Someone, and I do like Counting, Let's Get This Party Started, and Dirty as well. Those are pretty underrated songs. At number 2, we got Follow the Leader. This is arguably the quintessential Korn album, a must-have for any Korn fan. This is the album that broke them and the new metal movement into the mainstream, with lead singles such as Freak On A Leash and Got The Life, but there's also a lot of other great tracks on this album as well, such as It's On, Dead Bodies Everywhere, BBK, All in the Family, Reclaim My Place, Justin, Seed's pretty good too, and My Gift to You as well. And at number 1, we have Korn's self-titled debut album. In terms of raw anger, hate, pain, and depression, this is Korn's best album of all time. with tracks such as Blind, Ball Tongue, Need To, Clown, Faggot, Lies, and the bone-chilling album closer, Daddy. This is the album that got me into Korn, and I am happily a Korn fan of over a year now. And that's it for the Korn discography ranking, guys. Please let me know what your ranking of every Korn album is down in the description below. And I'll see you guys later for the Metallica album rankings. Peace out, guys.